Hello there. Welcome to Tubi Tuesday. I'm Scotty. You're not. And yeah, this is another change in the schedule. Originally, this was going to be Dylan Dog Dead of Night, but then I saw this was on there. Mike from We Watched the Movie reviewed this about a month ago or so because he's going through the Scream clones. And I so I saw it was on Tubi. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. The Curve, starring Matthew Lillard of Scream fame, almost playing a Stu Macher type character. Michael Vartan of Alias fame, and Kerry Russell of The Americans, and Felicity, as she was famous for back then, and this other guy who's character, and it involves the myth. Apparently, there's a myth that if your roommate commits suicide, then you will get a 4.0 on your grade point average. You will get a free pass, basically, is what it is. Apparently, there's a myth. I never wanted to call it, so I wouldn't know. And then, I don't know if I would even attempt it. But the thing is, these two friends, Chris, played by Michael Vartan, and Tim, which I think played by Matthew Lillard. I think his character's name is Tim in Senseless too, which is, they come up with this plan to kill their roommate and make it appear as if he committed suicide. To set this whole plan, but then it goes off the rails when they can't find the body, and then the guy's girlfriend commits suicide. She was apparently pregnant at the time, and yeah, it also sort of starts going downhill for Chris, and he's implicated in the murder, and connected, and the cops come around, and yeah, it gets confusing, but I kind of figured out. I there's a couple twists in this, and I figured them both out. It just took me a minute to figure the second one out. It's something that clicked in my head later on. So, yeah, like I said, these two roommates, they have, Chris is seeing this shrink. And, look, this right here would be complete and total bullshit. But apparently, she's played by Dana Delaney, this Miss Ashley, the shrink, the school shrink, psychiatrist, physiatrist, as Desi Arnaz would say. Apparently, she's not allowed to say anything. Patient-doctor confidentiality. But, however, we have recently learned from a Scream movie of all things that is not necessarily the case, because that doctor calls the cops when she admits that she had, she killed her boyfriend and tried to kill someone, tell the events of Scream 5, and he said, oh, I have to report this. So, based on the fact that I had seen that already, and now I'm watching this whole thing with her just having to listen to everything and can't say anything is bullshit, I mean, hold on, so you can't say anything even if they said they were going to kill someone or commit suicide? That's right, patient. No, bullshit. Bullshit, and I believe the Scream 6 over that, because there's no way they could sit there and listen to, I killed someone, but she can't tell it. No, that, to me, yeah, it's a little too bullshitty, but yeah, and so he's talking to Miss Ashley about what usually gets people to commit suicide. How do you know? And you get emo music and alcohol and stuff like that. And so it's very clear they're setting this guy up. The girlfriend, Natalie, this guy's girlfriend, finds out she's pregnant. And so this guy's an asshole anyway, but he's like, you got something to say? Say it. She's like, I'm pregnant. And he's like, and he punches Chris, and he leaves. And then the three of them, they get drunk out by the lighthouse, and they put rat poison, supposedly, in the tequila bottle that he's drinking, and then they push him, supposedly push him over the, they push him, over the cliff to his death. And then the next morning they can't find him anywhere, and then they assume he's dead, but they haven't found the body, which is the important thing, and what something clicked in my head halfway through this movie. I'm like, I think I figured something out here, but they can't find the body. Because they say it a few times. It wasn't until the third time the cops said it that it clicked in my head. But I can't find the body. And then the girlfriend, Natalie, commits suicide. She jumped off the cliff. She has a picture she stole from their room, jumps off the cliff. She commits suicide. They find her, and then so now the cops are coming down hard. They're doing an investigation. They're trying to figure out what's going on. One of them I thought was Stephen Williams. It sounds like him. It could be. This is 98. I don't know what he looked like back then, but it could be him. I don't know. He's fully shaved except for the mustache, which I haven't really seen since like the 80s. You know what I mean? But it could be him. I don't know. And the fat guy I've seen before, but I don't know. Basically, they're talking to the psychiatrist, and she keeps saying, I can't tell you anything. I cannot tell you anything. And I was like, that is bullshit. That is bullshit. Even when this, things start to be talked about and she remembers what Chris was talking to her about. And I was just like, no, something's clicking in her head, and they think that Chris is responsible for this, and she still doesn't say anything. To me, there's got to be a line, right? Like I said, I believe the guy in Scream 6 is more realistic of a psychiatrist than this lady. I just, whatever. Spoiler alert. They get away with this. And I say they, I won't say who, but they get away with this all because this lady can't say anything. And that's sort of bullshit that they get away with this because this lady can't say anything. Right? So, eventually, Emma finds out about what happened, I think. They have an argument. Or he has a hard time telling some of it. They have an argument, and Tim's like, hey, you know what? I'll put a few drinks in her, and I'll bring her back to her room. And once you go in there, I want you to set everything up, look it all nice and pretty. I want you to hide in the closet. And then you're going to pop out and surprise her. So he does that. He gets her drunk. But instead, what I figured out, I'm like, oh, he is manipulating him. He is setting him up now. Because he's trying to blame everything on Chris. And so he's trying to blame Chris, and so he can, take the 4.0 and just go, right? Or whatever. He can just, get away with it and blame Chris for it. He's having Chris take the heat. And so he's like, hey, look. She's like, oh, this is beautiful. And he's like, hey, and then start making out. And she just goes down to town. And Chris is a bit of a puss because he comes out of the closet and just walks out. And they're like, oh. And he's like, Tim's like, And then the next day she tries to apologize to him. And she's like, at least we didn't have sex. And she's like, what was it, like, somebody didn't do anything. You had his dick in it. You had my roommate's dick in your mouth. It's weird when you think of someone like Felicity, who I think was like a wholesome, clean-cut character on that show. Who knows? And especially when I think of her as the babysitter from Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. That doesn't, she was a Disney Channel, Miley Cyrus. By the way, can you stop posting the meme where you have her more anyways, and then you do some kind of weird sounding thing? We get it. She has a bad voice. She can still sing though, so it's not that bad. Anyway. So they're at odds with each other, and then he talks. He's like, I gotta, But then they talk about it. And they realize that Tim is trying to set him up. And so he tries to get a confession, but Tim is acting all sad and like he's acting like he's going to kill himself, which I don't know what part of Tim's plan that was, but it works in someone else's plan, let me tell you. Uh, um, yeah. He talks to the cops. The cops stop him. Hey, he's like, I need to get to class. No, you can talk to us. And this is where things clicked for me. Where he's like, we still, he's like, what, you think I killed your roommate? Well, you still haven't found the body, right? And I went, fuck. He's still alive, isn't he? He took off somewhere. He's still alive. He's not dead. He's in on it too. And then they said, you said that he killed himself after finding out his girlfriend was pregnant. We did the autopsy. She wasn't pregnant. And I went, fuck, she's in on it too? I got up off my chair. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. She was the one who said she was pregnant. So she's being Emma, Felicity, her, she's in on it. I'm like, well, she's on it too? Okay. Just how much of what she was in on, though, is a little confusing. Because we find out later she already took the 4.0 because her roommate committed suicide. Which I didn't think of. And then there's a confrontation. Because Chris goes to meet Emma at the lighthouse. And Tim is there. And basically we get that they were in on it together. And it's revealed that, the other roommate guy, whose name I forget, Rand, was in on it too. They're all still alive, and they got a gun. And Chris gets the gun, and he's like, you know what? Fine. He goes to shoot himself, and nothing goes off. It's not loaded. And so he throws it, and then Rand picks it up, and he starts filling it up with bullets. And Tim now realizes something's going on here. He's like, what are you doing, buddy? Filling the gun with bullets. What? And then it turns out that Chris and Rand are in on it together, and they're gonna kill Tim and make it look like a suicide. He said, you can't shoot me. It's gotta look like a suicide. You know what? You're right. And they both push him off the cliff. I did laugh at that. And then it's weird because they frame this as if he's telling, Rand is telling, oh, I went to West Palm Beach for a while, and I left. I was going to commit suicide. I had a note, and I accidentally left it up there, and I went to West Palm Beach, Florida. And then he's saying this lie bullshit story. We're seeing what actually happened here with everything with Chris and them. And then they ask Emma, are you in or are you out? And they're like, well, Emma took the 2.0, and then we get the 4.0, and the psychiatrist again starts to think about it, but she never does anything. These guys get away with it. They get the 4.0. They're going to get into Harvard. They get away with it because of a stupid ass plot line that says that this lady, this psychiatrist, cannot say anything because of doctor-patient confidentiality. Complete and total fucking bullshit if I've ever heard it. Something like this has to be reported, right? There's no way that they should get away with it. But they do. It ends with them getting away with it. I was very shocked that it ended that way. Surely, I was waiting. What I thought was going to happen at first was that, because I did figure out something here when he throws the gun and then Rand picks up the gun. And so, what are you doing, buddy? And I'm like, wait, are Chris and Rand working together? And it did. And okay, I thought that Chris had the cops, and they were gonna come up and arrest them because he had the recording or whatever, but the recording was to get the whole price so that it sounds like Tim wanted to commit suicide. So yeah, I don't know. It's a little conflicting. I'm gonna give it middle of the road. I did like it though. I'll see if I can find it on physical media at some point, but it's not in a rush. I have a list of the stuff I've just been watching over the Tubi Tuesday mostly, except for High Tension, and The Descent. I want to get that on Blu-ray. I have a DVD, but I want to get the Blu-ray. But it was Dog Soldiers one of them. I want to get that Neil Marshall movie. I'm gonna get the other one. But yeah, this was an interesting watch. I got one more left in this Tubi Tuesday, and I got to focus on recording the Stephen King Saturday Night, which for you will already be up on the channel. But you know, I didn't enjoy it for what it was, but I feel like there's a lot of bullshit that, like, this script was like, okay, like, they end up winning in the end, and I felt like if it was realistically they wouldn't. This psychiatrist holds the key to them going to jail for the rest of their fucking lives. And she doesn't say anything because of a stupid law. I know there's doctor-patient confidentiality stuff. That's a real thing. But in these kind of circumstances, it can be broken. Like they said in Scream 6. So, yeah, I don't know. But what are your thoughts on The Curve? Or Dead Man's Curve, as it's called too, I guess. I guess it was called Dead Man's Curve, but Dead Man on Campus came out the same year, so they changed it to The Curve. I don't know. It was interesting. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, actually. I was waiting for, like, a serial killer thing, because, you know, I thought it was going to be in the vein of, like, Scream. But it's more of a thriller than it is horror, but I guess it has a sort of element. And if you want to say that Stu Macher survived and lived, and then changed his name to Tim and went to, you know, Florida for college, well, he's still dead because he got pushed off a cliff. So, yeah, I'm just saying. But thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.